Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning. It is, as my friend Ashlyn pointed out, Sunday of the Dead. Because we all feel like we're dying right now.
Usually how Sundays go.
Yes, you're not noshing on your pizza this time.
You know, I have tea, so I don't sound like Miley Cyrus. Hopefully.
That's hot.
I've lost my voice this weekend, so apologies.
Yeah, mine was rough earlier, but I think I can do it for a little while longer. Anyway, welcome back. It's been at least 4 days since I've seen you guys on stage.
Oh God, really? We're on the road here.
The Pet Cemetery tour, right?
Right? All the greatest hits.
-1. That's unfortunate,
know.
right? But he's with us in spirit.
Pascal is always with us in spirit.
Always.
Right? That's his jam.
He's hovering over us.
Yep.
Last time I opened this up by speaking about your acting journey. I want to continue that conversation a little bit and talk more about Pet Cemetery to begin, or maybe not. I would love to know, what are you most recognized for? You are probably not recognized at all, sir.
I am not recognized at all.
For Pet Cemetery, at least. People never know that you're Zelda.
People never know that I'm Zelda. They'll walk by the table and look at me like this, and they don't know that it was me. That it was a guy who did Zelda. So
You can. I think it's the face of recognition. They walk by and they're like, it is, but it isn't. But wait, the process. It's really fun.
So it's a fun thing to watch actually happening.
I just saw that because I got your picture this morning, right?
Yeah.
And then I went to talk to someone who was like, catty corner from you. And he's like, who's that? I said, it's him. And he's like, and he did that. And he looked over, and I'm like, it is.
Yeah.
It was 30-something years ago, but it is.
Yeah, I don't know what to do. I don't have to put a present picture of my face on and like morph it into Zelda. I don't know what
You gotta
to do.
come
That would be
makeup.
fun.
You gotta come in makeup.
You get a lot of
Oh yes. Yeah. 20 hours later.
Exactly.
Oh, right. Right. But you mentioned in Vegas that you have done theater, a fair amount of theater.
That's right.
Do you ever get recognized for any of that stuff, or are you
Only in my
pretty
own town. I live in a small town in Pennsylvania, and I worked at a theater there for around 25 years, acting and stuff, and directing too, and some writing. So I'm a big man there, but nobody else knows me anywhere else. Only as Zelda, honestly. Yeah.
It's a good one to have, though.
It is good.
Yeah.
It is good. Yep. It's lovely.
Coming to a lot of horror cons, so I think the horror credits, Pet Cemetery and Wes Craven's New Nightmare. It's funny to see people will come with family, or they'll drag a friend along who isn't necessarily die-hard horror, and you can tell, one person might be like, oh, that's cool, but oh my god, this one, and then it'll be the opposite for somebody else. Like the horror fans definitely Pet Cemetery and New Nightmare. Excuse me. But then like the friends or the mom or this or that, like I think Kindergarten Cop is a big one, and Full House. But it's random. Sometimes there's like deep cuts too. Those seem to be the major ones.
We talked about this in India like a long time ago, but my favorite of yours is that John Ritter movie you did. That movie, because I love the movie of the week, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, that was a good one. And you were like a teenager, so you were like not grown but no longer a child.
It's a little hard for me to watch. I'm definitely in my awkward phase.
No.
It's a little cringy.
He's a very handsome young man, just like he's a very handsome grown man now.
Sure.
But it was a great performance. Yeah.
That's fun. I did not know you worked with John Ritter. I loved him.
He was amazing.
Right?
Yeah,
I did a couple things with him.
That's great.
Skin Deep. You ever see that? Yeah, with him. He was fantastic. Definitely the Black Sabbath video I did. Well, I would say definitely between my role on Star Trek as Tasha Yar but Rachel Creed is up there. It depends what crowd I'm working. If it's the sci-fi gang, or I'm with the other my cast of Next Gen.
You get to walk among worlds.
I
in the sci-fi.
Bless you. Wow, that was a good one. got some lung on me. Okay.
It's a horror con.
I've given myself whiplash before, Steve.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, take it easy.
When you
Ash.
have that
Take it
sneeze and
easy.
you know it's going to hurt, you're like, straighten up.
I know.
This
Wow.
one's going to be guttural.
That woke me up. Okay. Yeah. So really, yeah. Tasha Yar and Rachel Creed are my two sides of the same coin.
Do you ever? Am I the only Dolly Dearest one that's like,
Oh,
oh my God? Am I the only one?
know.
That's such an underrated film.
There, you know,
It's incredible.
well, okay, I had photos. I saw some photos, man. So last weekend at Days of the Dead in Vegas, Kane Hodder was there. You guys all know Kane Hodder by now. And he looked at me and he said, "Wait, what was that movie we did together?" And I said, "God, I don't know. What was it called?" And he goes, I said, "You don't know the name of it?" He goes, "I don't know." He said, was my butt sticking out? Was I naked? And I said, "I don't think so." I think I would have remembered that.
This is just a dream.
I said, is that wishful thinking on your part or what? Anyway, it was this movie called Born that we did. And oh my God, I mean, I saw pictures out here that I have never seen from movies. I thank God the names were written on the back because I didn't remember the scene or the movie. Like I saw shots of me. I couldn't tell you if I did that movie or that scene if my life depended on it.
Wow.
So that's kind of crazy.
It sounds like such a surreal experience. Like you clearly did it, but you have zero recollection of doing it.
Very surreal.
Yeah.
It's like
Very
finding blackout
surreal.
videos on your phone.
Like if it yeah. I mean, if it
Remember
wasn't,
that.
if the photo wasn't there, yeah. And there's some things I wish I didn't look at.
Oh my gosh.
But like my head was severed and sitting on the floor in this one movie, and I went, I did not shoot that. He said, "Yeah, you did."
Wow.
They saw the head casted for it. You think you'd remember that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Does this ever happen to you guys? It happens to me up here a lot. And it used to happen when I was doing musical theater. I get like performance amnesia. I get off stage and I have no idea what just happened. Like a complete blackout.
Kind of.
No recollection.
You leave it all out there.
Yeah.
You just have a brain wipe. too.
Like I'll leave the stage and I'm like, I love what you said. I'm like, I don't know. No clue what just happened. Or am I the weird one? Like,
No.
I'm the weird one, got it.
Listen, I don't remember, but I once went to a con in Germany, and the volunteers, before the con starts, they get to ask if they could, which celebrity they want to sit with. And so I had this lovely German guy sitting with me, obviously we're in Germany, and he chose to sit with me. And so in a break of the line, he said, "Miss Crosby, can I ask you some questions?" And I said, "Absolutely." And he pulls out this long sheet of all of these questions, and they were detailed, like a detailed walk through my career. And he said, "What was it like working with William Holden?" And I went, "I worked with William Holden?" He goes, "Yeah, 1989, you did a television movie." I said, "I did?" I mean, this dude, I could not remember a thing. We were laughing. I was laughing my ass off. He must have thought I was insane because I had no idea what he was talking about. And he had like a detailed, map of my career.
It's like when you die and then God talks to you like, let's go through some things.
I
remember that.
Yeah,
Like that never
I
happened.
think Satan will be at my my entryway.
Oh, I told my friends that if one of my friends doesn't take my phone and like post on like Facebook, in my funeral, it's really hot down here. They're not really my friends. That's my dying wish. Practical jokes at my funeral.
That'd be good.
Right?
Absolutely.
I'm gonna throw out to you guys. Does anyone have any questions at the moment?
For all of you, what was one of your favorite sequences to film in Pet Sematary?
stump you already.
Right.
Again with the
Was I in that movie?
performance, It's hard for you.
Yeah, I don't remember much at all from it. I would imagine the truck sequence. I've seen the most pictures from behind the scenes of that, I think, like home movies and stuff. And it seemed like quite a to-do to have the truck, and there was a large mirror in the road. I'm not even sure how they were using it. I think it was to distort it and make it look very, like, a lot closer than it was. Yeah, I would imagine that was a big day.
Do you have any memory of Fred Gwynn at all?
Very, very little. My parents said I loved him, that he was like grandpa, that we would play all the time, and we just got along great. And I always thought that would just be so cool. It's a shame the timing wasn't better for conventions and doing reunions like this when he was still around, because I'm sure he would love this and meeting the gang.
Yeah, the stories he would be able to share. You know, he shared such great stories with us on set. But I loved the family sequences in the Creed house where, you know, Church is running around and I'm feeding the baby and I'm walking around with little baby Miko in my arms, and I know, and Ellie's running and Lewis is doing stuff. You know, the house was so beautiful. It was just this beautiful Maine yellow house, and it just had this just great. The writing was great, and it had this joyful spirit to it, which was why when it turns, it's so devastating, you know, because you see this lovely, beautiful family just getting go, and everything Rachel wore, Rachel Creed, you know, her look, her style, her vibe. I just, you know, love that the beginnings of that movie. It was so beautiful in Maine. The sky was so blue. And the air was so sweet, and just everything was so. I had never been to Maine before, and you know, we were away from Hollywood. Nobody bothered us. You know, we could do what we wanted. You know, we didn't have a bunch of executives breathing down our neck, and you know, we were like let's put on it. Let's do a movie. You know, Stephen was there, Stephen King, and he was like just totally behind everything. Gave us the go ahead, the green light, take it, it's yours now. And so, you know, there was just a real essence of joy.
Favorite part?
Favorite part? Well, I'm only in like 3 minutes of the movie, so I guess the second minute.
That middle section, right?
I do remember like being on the bed when she's on the bed and she kind of like does this thing from turning around. I remember like Mary saying, "What do you want to do here?" And we want you on the bed, but what do you want to do? And I remember like, you know, having input in that and having fun, you know, trying stuff. That's what you like to do, you know, as an actor, make something up. So I think that was my favorite part. Yeah.
How did you develop your character, Andrew? Like were you practicing walks and voices, or did you wait till you get on set and just saw what looked good in makeup, or?
Well, I don't know.
Or you just did something and you're like, hey, that's good.
I did something for the cattle call. There was a big cattle call with a bunch of 12-year-old boys. I was in my 20s at the time. I did something. I don't remember what it was. They liked it, I guess. And then I met Mary, who I'd like to hear you talk about, actually, director Mary Lambert, because I got to be with her, you know, that night but I didn't really get to know her. I just know that she was so supportive and lovely. So after I auditioned for the casting call the first time, I went out and bought the book, and I actually saw Mary at the Coliseum bookstore on 57th Street in New York, and we had this very nice kind of like conversation. And then,
Meant to be.
yeah, it was really neat. And then I auditioned for it again. As an actor, you just play, you just try stuff out, and apparently, you know, it worked. I didn't know, you know, what's a scary, you know, crippled girl gonna sound like? Or scary, what are you gonna do? So, yeah, and a lot of it was the makeup, of course, too. So, just
I bet too. I wonder if you've had this experience. I know that when I once worked on the Glass Menagerie and I played Laura, and this is a Tennessee Williams play. I'm sure you guys, it's a classic. But Laura had polio as a young girl, so she wears a brace on her leg. And when I put the brace on my leg and then went out into the alleyway before I came on to do the play, I noticed the way people looked at me. And it filled me with so much that I had to like take it down a notch, when I came onto the stage, because I was filled with such emotion, because the way it's like people didn't want to look at me, but they kind of wanted to,
They're giving you the side eye.
it was really informative for an actor. So did you see, did that happen at all, that sense of that?
I don't think I was aware enough to, you know what I mean?
There's probably a lot of crew members too, and people on set that saw you going through the process, so it wasn't like when you walked on the set, you probably then were in full-on gear.
Zelda mode.
Yeah. I'm sure people went like,
Honestly, I don't remember.
Yeah.
I have no recollection. I just remember people being very supportive.
Performance amnesia.
Yeah, exactly.
well,
Yeah.
when I got made up for the end with the eyeball oozing out, I was in the trailer. No one was with me except the Andersons, Lance and David Anderson, and John, right? John was the other makeup artist. And they were doing this, and it took at least 4.5 hours. And then I'm in, bloodied stockings and ripped clothes, dirt under my fingernail. I mean, it was a full-on thing. And I've only got one eye that I can see out of, so they walked me to the set and to show Mary, the director. Mary's reaction was like, oh God, oh God, oh God. And she would call me Nisi. That was her, she said Nisi. And she's from Arkansas, so she's just this little petite girl. And she goes, oh Nisi, oh God, oh Nisi, I can't even look at you. I can't even look at you like that. And I said, well, Mary, you're gonna have to direct the movie, okay? So, you gotta look at me. And she goes, oh God, it's horrifying. I hate seeing you like this. I said, it's just a movie.
That's the best reaction you can hope for.
I think exactly.
Or the Anderson's like, you're welcome.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
About your kissing scene. About your kissing scene with Lewis at the end. How do you make it through that without a laugh?
How did he make it through
How did
that?
I make it through without laughing? I mean, we did the scene, pretty much Mary shot in sequence. And that was purposely to get to entrust Miko to all of us and to ease the way for him.
I was a method actor and I had very
So by the time, Miko's got the scalpel and he's, come back to kill his mama, he's like, oh, let's play. What are we gonna do today? He loved us. He was safe. He felt it was easy. It was fun.
It was comfortable. It wasn't like a new, strange environment that I would
Strange
be
people.
I mean,
to do
that's-
these strange things.
That's a lot to ask for a 3-year-old, to do. So you had to gain, Mary had to gain the trust. And she was so clever in that. She also took a big chance by hiring Miko to do the part, because usually you work with twins. Ellie they were the Bernal twins. So, because you can only work so often. But Mary said, you know what? I like this guy so much, this baby's so right, that I'm willing to work extra hard for this. And we were all on board. We said, absolutely, whatever you guys, if we need to play with me, we play with Miko when nobody's shooting, and just so he knew that, I'm your movie mommy, this is movie daddy, and all good.
So sweet. I have Mary to thank for maybe everything because of that. So
For real,
Yeah,
absolutely. And so when
that and the generosity of the rest of the cast, because if someone's not good with children, then you're going to be like, they don't like me,
Absolutely, there are
Yeah,
actors,
that's it.
for sure, there are actors that do not like working with children.
I've worked with them. Not on our film.
No, God, yeah, I bet you have. So the eyeball, so that scene was shot, and then we wrapped and came back to LA, and I got a call from Mary, we have to reshoot that. This is not, they want it gorier. I went, oh God, really? I mean, usually it's the other way around. The executives go, ooh, it's too much. Take it down a notch. So now we've got the whole pump going through the eye with the ooze and so we were all brought to Paramount, to a sound stage where they completely recreated meticulously that kitchen scene on a sound stage. So we shot it one more time. I went through all that goop.
And did that one make it in?
That's what's in. Yeah, they want
like,
they want the pus kiss.
Bus kiss.
It's so good. There are some very simple, gore effects in that movie that icked me out as a kid. I was like, that is gross.
They hold up though.
They
Like,
were the
the
practicals.
practical
They hold
makeup
up.
is, I think, one of the best things in the film, and nowadays, I think it's way better than the remake, if I can say that.
Yeah,
Like,
again.
they turned blue, but Pascal and you at the end, and
They
you're
turned
like,
him into zombie
And
anti-heroes.
Zelda. I mean, you don't even. It's funny. Brad, obviously who plays Pascal. He and I went to see the remake together. Did I tell you guys this
Yeah,
story?
I remember.
So yeah, Brad and I are old friends. Our kids played. Not only did we meet on the movie, but then our kids played Little League together. So we were always in touch. And so he called. I said, let's go have lunch, and let's come over, and we'll walk to the cinema near my house. We'll go the earliest on a Tuesday. We'll do the first show on a Tuesday. So he comes over, we go to the movie theater, and it's one of those fancy movie theaters where you can order, wine and, hot dogs from the box, the waiter comes, it's like crazy. Anyway, so we go to the cinema, and the manager is there. It's really empty, quiet on a Tuesday, and he goes, oh my God, wait a minute, I know you guys. And I said, oh yeah, we're here to see Pet Sematary. He goes, but you were in Pet Sematary. And I'm like, yeah, we were in Pet Sematary, now we want to see this Pet Sematary. And he goes, oh my God, you guys, let me lock the theater
oh wow.
and go in and have the cinema to yourself.
Wow, it's private.
So Brad and I are sitting alone in this beautiful theater, ordering wine, and we're sitting there, and we watched the movie together, which was really cool.
Thanks for the invite.
But I'm sorry, it was so spontaneous.
Yeah.
And then, but I'm thinking my point was, so Brad is throughout the movie going, what? Wait a minute.
Me too.
He's doing that, and I'm going, it's okay. And I'm going, where's Zelda? There's hardly any Zelda in the remake. Come on.
There wasn't very much Zelda in the original, but what there was counted.
Yeah.
It's
Big
like
time. Like you said,
Beetlejuice.
3 minutes, but the 3 minutes we had mattered.
Beetlejuice is one of, I think, my all-time favorite movie, and he's only on screen, I think, for
Yeah.
11 minutes.
That's
But
the
it's
same
like,
film.
I might be a little off on that, but it's a very small part of the film. But when he's there, it's showtime.
Same
you
thing
know?
with Nightmare on Elm
Yeah.
Street. Freddy's only on screen for a few minutes in the entire
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
But
I think it's more
presence.
impactful sometimes when you sit some of the best characters like that to really, they're there for a purpose and to really hit it hard.
I went to see the new one in the theater with my then husband, and I was excited because I like seeing a horror movie in the theater, but I was apprehensive at the same time. he'll go see whatever with me. He don't care. He's not into it, but he's like, whatevs. And it was winter, and it was raining and snowing, and it was gross. And I'm in, settle in, and I'm like, yes, movie, got my popcorn, and I'm ready, and I'm just like, the entire time I was just like, I see him watching me, and I'm like, so did you have the same thing? Were you like this?
No, I'm telling you, Brad and I really went hoping it was good. I had already talked to Mary, and Mary had seen it early. And I said, well, what do you think? And she goes, you be the judge. You go see, it's okay, but you know, I mean, she was so generous and diplomatic and sweet, you know. She was, and so, but you know, Brad and I went really wanting to like it, wanting to see something, you know, what an interesting place to be able to go and see a part you've already done, a movie you've already done, and go, well, how is this actor interpreting that? Or, you know, what's their take on it? And it's rare. I don't think that's ever happened to me. There's no other case of that in my career. I mean, maybe someone will play Tasha Yar one day, I hope so, you know, and like some hot blonde babe, and
right here. Hello.
Yeah, so we were curious, you know, and I came out going, why?
Yeah.
You know, unless you're going to do something that is groundbreaking or so transformative, interpretive in a way that hasn't been done.
Yeah, I think that's what they tried to do with the Ellie Gage switch, which was interesting, and I was definitely like there for. But it felt like they kind of gave everything away in the preview, and then when you go see it, it's like, cool, that's interesting. They're mixing it up. Where do they go from there? And then that was kind of the thing, and then there really wasn't much more to it, which felt pretty flat. And I think why the first one works so much, I'm not saying it's perfect, you know, the movie is, but you really feel the chemistry. You feel the chemistry of the family. And, you know, kind of like what you were saying earlier, how you guys did that. For my benefit, we shot all of the wholesome stuff, and we had that. It was beautiful, and it built up to such a high that when the lows happen, you feel it. It's impactful. I always I know Pet Sematary is obviously considered horror, but it's not like a slasher. It's not, you know, a guy in a mask stabbing everyone. It's more of a family tragedy with supernatural elements. And it's real life that can happen, and then cranked up to the extreme, you know, like Stephen King does. He just pulls on your heartstrings with it. And I think in the new one, I didn't feel that family chemistry. There was no sense of loss and pain as an audience member when things happened to them.
Right.
And it was interesting, like, oh wow, okay, that happened, but okay, well, now what? I was curious, but I didn't hurt. I didn't feel that sense of loss. And I think, you know, when I left the theater, I was optimistic. I was like, okay, it wasn't what I thought. It was cool. I'm stoked they did it. But what the barometer for me was I didn't think about it again the next day. A good movie kind of sticks in your brain and crawls around, and you think, oh yeah, that. And it was the very next day, and I was already like, so wait, what was the reason? Because they changed the one. How did that connect with the? It left so quickly. And I think maybe that's why.
For all of you, what was your favorite souvenir you were able to keep from the film?
Oh. Okay. I kept a lot of the clothes, but that's not my favorite. So at the end of filming, the studio, as a wrap present, gave us all a stuffed toy cat church. And I still have mine. And then Mary, the director, gave me a kitten church, a real kitten.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was, you know, dying.
Was it from a litter of
it was
of the
from,
film cats?
yes.
Oh, really?
Yes, but I had 2 cats, and my now ex-husband wouldn't let me bring the 3rd cat home.
Dang.
But I divorced him, so.
You're like, can I have the cat back, please?
Yeah, now I can get the cat.
That's hard though, yeah. 3
Yeah.
cats, that's
Yeah,
crazy cat lady territory. That's the law. Once
Maybe,
you have 3.
kind of edging towards,
You're
yeah.
not the crazy cat lady if you're married.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
That's true, yeah.
That's
That's true.
for sure.
Anyone else?
We were talking before you guys had come in the room that kind of like how you just came from Las Vegas and it's hard to find different questions so that not every panel you guys have to answer the same thing over and over. So I kind of had like, the thought for me was to turn it back on you. For each of you, what is the question that you always get that you wish no one would ever ask again? And then the other side of that, what's the question you wish the fans would ask?
I don't know that there is one, but it's always fun to. There's always going to be surprises. You think you've heard it all, and then sometimes you get some curveballs. It's just fun to meet everyone and interact and get to hang out. So that's probably a cop-out answer, but it's honest.
People always want to know how long the makeup took, and it's a very valid question because it took a really long time, and I don't mind answering that, but I don't know what I would want people to ask me. I just don't know.
What was your bra size as Zelda? No.
That's great. That's great.
Zero.
Did
count.
you do any like fashion shows?
Well, I do love that dress actually.
Right.
I was
I'm
gonna-
really good in that dress.
And how did your
a good
drag
color.
career go after Pet Sematary?
Right down.
I saw it in the theater back in, was it '89 when it came out, fall of '89? A young lady sitting in front of me at the part where he gets hit by the semi, absolutely freaked out. I don't know if she knew somebody that had been through that. Is that something that happened? Had you guys ever heard of that happening in that movie? Or, you know, I mean, this gal, she had to be taken out. It was that bad.
Wow.
Absolutely
I've
freaked out
never
when he got hit
heard
by the
of
semi.
that.
I don't doubt. I mean, statistically, it's.
Yeah, that was in Indianola, Iowa, you know, a small town.
I did talk to somebody at a show one time who was a truck driver, and he told me a story of how someone committed suicide by stepping out in front of his truck.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and he talked to me like about the film and how that impacted him and how it was difficult and it was really interesting. It was a powerful conversation. He seemed, fine, well adjusted. It was many years before, but it was cool to kind of like talk through it with him and it's part of life, it happens.
I mean, that, is a testament to the power of the filmmaking, And again, my hat's off to Mary for setting that shot up in that way. I mean, it was horrific. And it was terrifying to shoot. I mean, to have that approaching that day, knowing what was going to happen, and for us to be having this beautiful, sunny picnic, and knowing what was about to happen. I often think, and we talked about this in Vegas, that had I been a mother at that point, both Mary and I weren't mothers yet. We are now mothers of boys. But it almost saved me, in a way, to be able to act that. It is because I've seen the movie before I had a child, and I've seen the movie after I had a child, and it definitely hit me differently. It's a horrifying, terrifying moment in that movie. I mean, probably the most
Was that day harder or the funeral?
Very different state of being, you know, because that starts out so lovely and so fresh and so fun and delightful, and then you just have to be surprised, you know, so you can't play it before. The funeral, like I said, I had to stay all day in that zone. That was exhausting and awful to, you know, be in that place all day long. But yeah, that had very different.
And you?
I guess kind of along those lines then too, for Pet Cemetery or any of your other work, is there something you do to decompress or kind of wash that man out of your hair, so to speak, with any of your heavier, you know, the heavier things that you take on in certain roles?
Well, Zelda was a long time ago. But in doing theater, usually after you come off of your show, usually you're up for a few hours because you're all adrenaled. So a glass of wine often helps. Washing, taking a shower, taking a walk, being outside, stuff like that grounds you. Just helps.
Yeah, I think the beforehand is a lot worse. Once it's done, it's like, okay, I got it out there. You put it all out there, and then it's, you know, you feel either good or less about it. You know, like, hey, it feels good. It's relief because then you get the euphoria of like, okay, nailed it. Like I don't have to worry about it. It's not on the horizon of you know, having to prepare or be concerned with how it's going to turn out. So yeah, I mean, if you're like, I had a few like really big crying, like bawling scenes as a kid. And sometimes when you get in that space, you tend to stay there a while. You can't always turn it on and off, but it's not, you know, it's not that bad. Yeah, whatever. I don't know. Maybe I blocked it out.
I think too that as an actor, it's part of what you need for a skill. You know, you need to be able to leave it. You know, you have to know how to do that, and not just, you know, it's just part of what we do, what we know how to do, and you know, you can't. I mean, there have been moments, you know, you can, if you're playing something edgy or, you know, like you might find all of a sudden you're bringing this character home a little bit, you know, and then you go, okay, well, that's not happening. That's not right. That's not good. Okay, this is ridiculous. I know you got to be able to differentiate and be able to disconnect. Otherwise, you'll have a very strange life.
You know, Miko, I promised you in Vegas that before our next interview, knowing this was coming up, I would watch Dylan's New Nightmare.
Oh, okay.
And I did. And I liked it.
Good.
Good job. That was an emotional part for you too, though.
There's a moment.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Yeah,
So, can you talk a little bit about that, the making of it, and then getting it out there?
Yeah.
And by the way, I love hatchets. So the mere thought of a hatchet 5, I was
reference.
like, ooh, yay, please.
Yeah, that was all Cecil's doing. Yeah, I guess for those that might not know, I did a short film recently that's a fan film. I was contacted at a convention by a guy who asked if I would ever consider reprising my role as Dylan in New Nightmare, and I said, oh, that's a fun idea. Who knows? I have no idea. Of course, I would at least read a script, and then I saw him again 3 months later at another con, and he handed me a script, and I said, "Oh, wow, that's really cool. Thanks." I didn't expect much because you see a lot of scripts at horror cons, and they're not all necessarily great. Sometimes, you know, so I really didn't have high hopes, and then I read it, and I thought, "Oh, this is actually really well written. If you were going to revisit this character, that makes sense. He seems to have thought it out. He knows the story and the characters very well." And I said, sure. I hadn't acted in a very long time, and it was kind of fun to kind of come back and do that. And It got delayed many times because of COVID, which actually really helped us because it turned out way better than I think if we would have done it as early as we were planning to. And yeah, it was completely fan funded on Indiegogo by the fans. And yeah, well, those are, sorry, I kind of went on a tangent. Your question, what was the filming like? We filmed in Arizona for a week.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, and it kind of got me thinking about acting again. I've kind of been turned off to it for a long time, but that was fun. So who knows?
Where can you find it?
Oh yeah, it's on YouTube.
Really easy to find.
Yeah, it's
the
Dylan's
name is
New Nightmare. Dylan's New Nightmare. The original was Wes Craven's New Nightmare, and if you've seen the original, it's full of like Easter eggs and references, and it's like Freddy fan food, you know. Yeah, it did very well the first week. The numbers were like flying, and then because it is horror and it has, you know, horror type topics, there's a brief moment, without ruining too much, where a couple characters, it's not even that graphic or anything, but they unalive themselves, and YouTube is very sensitive to that kind of thing, and so it got age restricted and demonetized, and it stopped being shared within the algorithm. So a lot of people I see at cons are very familiar with it. I've met many people this weekend that had no idea it was out yet. So it's really word of mouth at this point to get it out there. But it seems like everybody that
So
has seen
share
it
it.
enjoys
Share it
it.
on
Yeah,
all your
if you feel
socials.
like
Get it out.
If you like it, so you don't have to. But
If you don't
it's
like it, don't tell
appreciated,
anyone.
so, yeah.
Just shut up. No, but that's the type of story that's really cool. You know, they did it. Stephen King did it with Dr. Sleep,
Yeah.
revisiting this child that went through some crazy trauma as an adult,
I
and
love
seeing
Dr.
how
Sleep.
messed up or not they are, and how it affected them in the long run. Because we don't see what happens later.
Well, that's what I was concerned about with Miko.
In real life.
In real life, you know, because that was, you know, he was little,
Yep.
and you know, then we didn't see each other for some time, and then he's a young man, and I think the first thing I said to you was, "Oh my God, you're normal! Oh my God! Oh thank God! Oh my God!" I was so scared.
I've got you all fooled.
Who's normal anyway?
Yeah.
What does that mean? Right? Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah. Well, real quick to go to your point about comparing the original to the remake. Mary Lambert's, I mean, a master storyteller. So I think that has a lot to do with the flaws in the remake too. But my question is about New Nightmare, because I love that movie so much, you know. And I'm just wondering, do you have memories at all of filming the climax? You know, in the
The
weird
hell
cavern?
set?
Yeah.
Yeah, that set was so cool. It was a playground. I remember just running through it. There was times where it wasn't set up. They were filming in that area that you could go. They didn't have all the props necessarily. It was kind of the bones of it, but it was all interconnected. The layout was very different than it seems when you watch it, because the way they edited it. It was kind of long, but then it had little rooms that would kind of peel off. But the detail and just being 7 and being in a Freddy movie and being in like hell, it was dope, dude. It was awesome. Yeah, that was one of the more fun parts of it.
It looked like the detail that you see like Disneyland.
Yeah, it did feel kind of like an amusement park vibe a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously dark and creepy, but and you could, you know, you'd turn a corner and then it would just be plywood and beams, and you'd have to go up stairs. Oh, okay. Fun fact: in the beginning of the movie, the dream sequence that Wes is filming when the robotic hand comes to life. That behind the scenes, that was in the hell set, the same hell set that's at the end that they're filming, where he's chopping his hand off and then the credits. And then the behind the scenes where we come down like the wooden stairs, that's just the backside of one portion of the hell set. So it's kind of meta on that level too.
Was the water heated?
It was, thank goodness. Yeah, it was like almost like a jacuzzi. It was really fun doing the. I remember because I was little, I was so scared about getting water in my nose, and I was like, "Can I plug my nose when we jump in?" And they're like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay, I'll do it. I can do it." Like, yeah.
Anyone else out there? All right. Well, then I'm going to wrap us up. Fred Gwynn was mentioned earlier. Can you share, maybe not you, any specific special memories you had working with him, talking with him, even like after Pet Sematary if you guys kept in touch.
Well, I was fortunate enough to arrive in Maine 2 weeks before we started shooting, and Dale Midkiff and Fred and Mary and Stephen King and I sat around a conference table in a room and just talked about the script, about the story, about what we were after, who were these people, how did this happen, what is the essence really of this story. And so it was just a wonderful chance to connect, get to know each other for the first time, and establish this trust and these relationships. And Fred just began to embody Judd Crandall. He just began to get the voice, the laconic movements, a Maine accent is so specific and very difficult to get right. And he just, you just saw it happen before your eyes. And he raised the bar so high that it just brought all of us, up. His acting was so good that we said, okay, we got to bring our A game here, There's no, and not that, and that was always our intention, but it was like, when you work with good actors, it makes you a better actor. So that was tremendous. He would have us over for dinner at times. He and his wife Debbie, they rented this house. We all had our houses individually, and she would love to cook, and we would have some cocktails, and he also wrote children's books. So I have one of his treasures,
Me too.
Yeah, his children's book. And there's a name for what he did. He would like I forget the word.
Like puns, they're like
they're like
all,
exactly
the drawing would match.
Exactly, so say for instance the expression pigeon-toed. He would have a pigeon, with a big toe, and he would do the illustrations. And there's
literal. It's like you would play with the English language,
Yes.
different sayings, and then would
and there's a
do
word
the drawings as literal.
I forget the word for that, but he just signed a book for us, and he's just a very, very special human being, and brave and honest and grounded, and really had such a career.
Anyone else want to contribute to that?
I don't think I met Fred. Was he? I have a question for you because I feel like I did meet him, but I don't know if I made it up since.
Right.
So was he there at the very end of the shooting? Because that's when I was there, at the last couple of days. So I feel like I have a memory of seeing a very tall man and shaking his hand, but I don't know if that's true.
The timeline is blurred. I don't remember. I mean, I know that that's very possible because I do feel as if the big fire sequence of the Crandall house was saved for the very end in case everything went to hell. I mean, that was crazy what they did. So this is what's amazing about this movie. So the Creed house in the book, is on that road, and across the street is Judd Crandall's house. That's what they found. That doesn't happen. The Creed house is on a big highway, and Judd Crandall's house is across the street. So that always blew my mind. And so in the big finale, when Judd Crandall's house goes up in flames, that sequence was unbelievable. I even went to the set. I'm not even in that sequence, but I went to watch this. And, they built a big fake facade, like loaded with fuel. And And that thing went up like a bomb.
So they had to burn the fake
The
house
fake
in
house
front of
in
the
front
real
of the
house.
real house.
Yeah, and have it be blazing, but safe for the real house.
For the
behind
real
it.
house, and it worked.
Yeah.
It's one of the most amazing stunts and special effects I've ever seen.
And
Yeah.
there was no damage to the real house
No
at
damage
all.
at all.
Wow.
Nobody was killed.
That's good.
No animals were harmed in the making. The church was already dead.
And the house is intact.
Yeah.
Homeowners are happy. All right, guys, please give it up. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Really, thank you so much.
Let's go up to the stage and take a photo. Photo time.
Where do we go? Go down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the lights, I just look like a stoplight in front of the red lights. It's not cute.
Hey, Kelly.
Ah, there's Denise. We lost her on the way down.
No worries.
Go 1, 2, 3. Oh, right over here. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
1, 2,
That would help.
3, and one more.
Thank you. Chin check. Everyone has one chin, right?
Chin.
Yes, we do. Oh, God. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. And see you next time, I hope.
Yep.
Thank you.
See ya. Thanks.